What's going on, YouTube? RDAP Dan here, Federal Prison Time Consulting. Hope you guys are having another amazing day. Today we're going to be talking about the top 3 things that you can be doing right now to put yourself into a better situation versus what you may already be in. And we're going to jump into that in a few minutes here, but first we are going to give you guys all a little bit of time to join us. And apologize if the screen is a little distorted today. I'm not sure what happened to it here. There we go. Readjusted the screen for you guys there. For some reason it changed the resolution. We're going to give you guys a few minutes to join us, so if you could take this time to go ahead and subscribe to our channel. It's pretty easy. All you need to do is tap on the subscribe button. Also, if you haven't already done so, go ahead and text the word YouTube to 76626. That will put you on our notification list. And I hope everybody is doing exceptionally amazing today. Apologize, we haven't been here a little bit. The move to Florida has been quite drastic. Also, my children were here last week. They were here for the 4th of July. They left yesterday. So getting back to normal, catching up on phone calls. And tomorrow, I'm actually going to be meeting with one of my co-defendants who went to prison with me. She's actually going to be stopping by. She lives here in the area, and we're going to discuss some options for her on how she might be able to help many of you that are also getting ready to face a possible prison sentence. So if you haven't done so, also give this video a thumbs up. Go ahead and hit that like button. Let's see how many likes we can get on this video. And with that said, we're going to go ahead and jump into today's topic. Today we're talking about the top 3 tips, things that you can be doing right now. And we're actually going to focus on, these aren't the top 3 things you should be doing when you go to prison. These are the top 3 things that I think you should be focusing on right now before you actually go to prison. So we're going to go and talk about number 1. And for those of you that like the content and feel you could actually benefit from this, there is a link in the description of this video. I'll go ahead and post it into the chat here. So for those of you that need it, this is our link where you can go ahead and book yourself a consultation. We're running a discount right now on the consultations. We get so many phone calls, so many emails a day. We had to start limiting how we do this and putting it into a more structured environment, or else the phone just doesn't ever stop. So if you would like to book a consultation, click on the link. It's in the description of the video. It's also in the chat right here. What's going on, Kevin? Welcome, welcome, my man. Happy, what's today? Wednesday. Wow, it's already Wednesday. So number 1. Number 1 tip we're going to talk about today, guys, and it sounds so simple and so basic, but if it were, we wouldn't be going through what we're going through. But the first thing you have to really do is you have to actually face reality. You have to realize that the reality of the situation is there's a very good chance that you're probably actually going to be going to federal prison. And a lot of us are in this kind of a denial phase where we don't want to face that reality. We pretend like it doesn't exist. We don't want to think about the situation, so we just ignore any type of reality. We avoid the word prison. We avoid thinking about it. We dread looking down at our phone when it rings because we're afraid it's going to be our attorney. We don't want to hear anything, but yet we all want this best possible outcome. But because we're avoiding reality, it stops us from taking the necessary steps in which can put us in that best possible situation. So the first thing you need to do is once you start facing reality, that's going to allow you to really start focusing on what you can be doing to actually mitigate your own circumstance, mitigate your own sentence. Now, many of you are in completely different situations. You're in different points. Some of you have already gone through your plea. Some of you were just indicted. Some of you are under investigation. What's going on, Sylvia? How are you doing? Welcome back. And because everybody is potentially at a different phase, it's so hard to tell you exactly what you specifically should be doing. But I can tell you the number 1 thing is dealing with the reality head on. Whatever that means for your situation is going to determine where you're at in the situation. So again, there's a link in the description of this video, and depending on where you're at in the situation, I would say the best thing to do is go ahead and book this hour consultation, because we can really dig into your situation one-on-one. We can go through PACER. We can look at if you've got a plea agreement, if you've been indicted, if you've already done the pre-sentence report. We can review all of your current documentation. If you've already gotten to the point where you started preparing letters, narratives, character reference letters, we can review these with you during this consultation and help you come up with a roadmap on what's going to be the best possible course that you should be focusing on right now. So that's the first tip. Deal with the reality that you're in, stop pretending like it doesn't exist, and start taking proactive measures to put yourself into a better situation. Try to focus on the roadblock. We all have these roadblocks where we think we kind of have all of the answers, we have it all figured out, and the reality is we just don't. So if you can focus on the roadblock that I don't need anybody's help to solve my own problems, that's probably the first irrational thought process that you're going to have. If you think that you have it all figured out and you don't need anybody's help and you believe your attorney is going to ride in on this giant white horse and do everything for you, that's where you need to kind of reground yourself and realize that many people in your situation thought that very thing, that are sitting in prison right now, wishing they had done things differently. So don't find yourself sitting in a prison cell or a cube or a dorm, whatever your prison environment is. Don't find yourself sitting there later wondering what you could have done differently earlier on in your situation, which is here now in the present situation. So number 2, you really need to realize that there's absolutely nothing special about you, about your circumstance. And what I mean by that, hey, Jeffrey Stamps, how are you? Welcome. I don't recognize your name, so if this is your first time to our room, I appreciate you joining us. Make sure if you haven't already subscribed, do that. Tap on the notifications and text the word YouTube to 76626. That will put you on our notification list so you get future live streams. For those of you that have this thought process that you're special or there's something unique about your situation, and the reason why I mention this is so many of us, including myself, we really believe that somehow the universe is going to somehow correct itself, and the judge or the prosecutor, whoever else is involved, is going to somehow see that you're a really good person and you don't deserve to go to prison, and they're going to understand that, and somehow the universe is going to correct itself and you're not going to go to prison. You're going to end up with some slap on the wrist or probation. And what this does is that is another irrational thought process, and the reason why a lot of us think that is we start to compare ourselves to an environment that doesn't really exist with what we have going on. We compare ourselves to murderers, rapists, violent criminals, a lot of the crazy stuff that you see on TV. And when you start comparing yourself to that situation, you go, well, I'm nothing like them. The judge is going to see I'm nothing like them. And the judge is going to realize that I shouldn't be in prison because I'm a good person. I go to church. I'm the provider of my family. You might be a husband or a wife, a brother, a sister. You've got kids, and you think somehow this is going to make a difference in your situation. What you need to realize is you need to start comparing yourself to other individuals that have gone through similar situations to you. Nonviolent first-time offenders, white-collar individuals. So many people before you and after you, just like you, had that very exact thought process where they imagined somehow the judge was going to just see this and go, oh, you shouldn't be here. We're going to go ahead and give you a probation, or we're going to put you on home confinement, or don't do it again. The judge has seen a million people just like you come in his courtroom, and there's going to be absolutely nothing unique or special about your circumstance. What can be special and unique about your circumstance are things that you start doing. You really need to start focusing on the effort you're putting into preparing for your pre-sentence investigation if you're going to be taking a plea deal. Most of you at some point are probably going to be accepting a plea deal. Once you accept that plea deal, you've admitted guilt. You've done exactly what they said you did. You've taken a guilty plea. You are now convicted of a felony. And now it's time to illustrate what that means when you take that responsibility of accepting that plea agreement. It's now time to rise and shine above the average person that's also taken that same plea 10 million times before you. So how you prepare for your personal narrative, how you prepare for the character reference letters, what kind of effort are you putting into really preparing for the pre-sentence investigation, what's going to take place with U.S. probation. How much do you actually know about RDAP, the Residential Drug Abuse Program, Second Chance Act, First Step Act, all of these different things that can actually mitigate how much time you're going to potentially serve in federal prison. Properly preparing now can set the tone of your day at court to where the judge does see somebody different in front of him that he hasn't seen 1,000 times before. But what's not going to set that precedent is just the fact that you're just going to assume that because you're generally a good person that you shouldn't go to prison. I'm not here to say you should or shouldn't go to prison. I can tell you, though, that the judge that you're going to be going in front of, there's a very, very good chance, unless you're his first case or he's only been on the bench for a year, it's highly likely that he sentenced many of good people, white-collar individuals, nonviolent first-time offenders, people that didn't necessarily mean to put themselves into a situation. Maybe they didn't understand the ramifications of what they were doing. They didn't really understand the consequences. They had all these seemingly unimportant, they made all of these seemingly unimportant decisions that are all coming back to affect us. So it starts with one little poor choice, a second little poor choice. Before you know it, these series of poor choices really pile up to come down and haunt you. So understanding that there's absolutely nothing special about you is going to be one of the biggest wake-up calls that you can put yourself through, no doubt. And again, everybody's in a different situation. So what that means for you, I don't know if you're at the beginning of your stage, the middle of your stage, the tail end of your stage, if you've already been sentenced. This is why the link is in the description of this video, and I'll go ahead and post it in there again. I'm putting it in the chat right now. This is where you can book a consultation, guys. And we're running a discount on the consultation. So we're trying not to kill anybody on this. This is an hour of my time that I'm going to sit with you on the phone one-on-one. Many of you that have spoken to me on the phone in the past, you know that when I'm on the phone with you, I give you 100%. We can get into Pacer. We can look up all of your case file. We can figure out what the best course of action would be for you to decide whether or not you want to move forward with any of the services we have to offer, or if you just want to absorb that hour's worth of information and use that to make your best decision possible going forward. So use the link. Jared Mendez, thank you for the Jared Mendez, I think you've probably donated so many $2 bills. You've probably donated $1,000 over the last year. I see your name pop up all the time on the donation list. Jared Mendez, much appreciated. And guys, in case you're wondering, why the fuck is this guy donating $2 to RDAP Dan? Does RDAP Dan really need $2? Well, I do, but that's not where the money goes. The $2 that Jared just donated goes into the pool that we let build up. Sometimes we let it build up 30 days. Sometimes we let it build up 90 days. It goes into a PayPal account, and then that money is used for inmates that do not have what many of us have, basic necessities. They need some hygiene products. They might need some cold weather clothes when winter's coming around. They might need a pair of tennis shoes. Who knows? There's a million things that individuals need in prison. And every single day we get emails from individuals in prison, from their family saying, is there any support groups that can help out? My loved one's in there. And no one's saying that let's just give all of our donations to somebody in prison that doesn't really need it. But many of you are going through the same circumstance. So if you have the ability to give back to somebody that's going through something, I promise you, that's the kind of energy that you need to be using right now. Paying it forward, doing things for the right reason, because then other things start falling into place. So back to what we're talking about here. The second tip that we're really focusing on is realizing that you're not special, pulling your head out of the sand. Stop comparing yourself to violent criminals. Compare yourself to how many nonviolent criminals go to prison every single day. If you're a nonviolent defendant right now, you have to understand where you're sitting, and the likelihood of it just fixing itself is very unlikely. So again, you need to take charge. You need to start mitigating your own circumstance. And when you start doing this, I'm telling you, things will start to unfold for you that you did not know existed. We say it all the time. Do not be sitting in prison a year from now or 6 months from now wondering what you could have done different. We hear it all the time from our inmates that go in, our loved ones and our defendants that end up in prison. They're like, this is exactly what you were talking about. Or we hear from individuals that didn't use us and they found out about us after the fact. They're already in prison. They start talking about all the things that they wish they had done different. And it's learning from your guys' mistakes, learning from what you guys are struggling with is where a lot of our content actually is created. We've developed a few new lesson plans that we're going to start implementing with many of you to really help you start navigating what you should be doing, a step-by-step playbook from what you should be doing from the minute you found out you're under federal investigation all the way through sentencing and beyond. So we're really trying to outline this and put it into a digital roadmap that will allow you to track your progress daily, weekly, monthly, give information to your attorney, give information to your pretrial probation officer, give you information for once you release towards getting early termination off of supervised release. So a little bit of everything. Tier Talk, what's going on, Anthony Ganji? Always love hearing from you, brother. Thank you very much. Let me read some of these comments, guys, before we jump into number 3. James Sanchez, hey, RDAP Dan, Have you ever heard of a case program in Central California District? The CASA program. I'm not sure that I have. If you want to run that by me. D. Sylvia asking how you donate. D. Sylvia, right under where you're texting, or here, I'll give you a link. You can also use this link. Here we go. This is for you, D. Sylvia. There's a couple of ways. Bonnie, welcome, Bonnie. I'm glad you could join us. And guys, if you've missed any part of this live stream, remember, once it's done, it will be on replay. So you can just go to my channel and you can watch this live stream later on as well. We're talking about the top 3 things you can be doing right now to better position yourself for the best possible outcome before you go to federal prison. Or hopefully you don't go to federal prison at all. But if you are thinking you're going to go and you're on my channel right now, there's a good chance that you might be going to prison. And that's step 1 was face reality. Realize step 1 is you probably are going to go to prison. There's a better chance that you're going to go than versus you not going. The second tip that we gave over here that we've already discussed is realizing that you're not special. Realizing that there's absolutely nothing special about your case. There's nothing unique just because you're a first-time nonviolent individual, whether you're white collar or blue collar, first-time nonviolent offender. We all tend to think that somehow this is just going to fix itself. They're going to see that I'm not a bad person. They're going to see that I'm a father. They're going to see that I'm a mother. They're going to see that I'm the sole provider. They're going to see that I have a sick family member, that I need to be there, that I'm the only person that can do X, Y, or Z. And none of that matters. None of that matters unless you properly orchestrate the entire process and really start building new habits, creating new desires, showing how you've changed, illustrating this, and this is part of the roadmap. This is why I stress. Get your consultation today. There's a link in the description of the video. There's also a link in the live chat. Going on to our third and final tip. Now, there's way more than 3 tips, guys. But if you know me, I like to hear myself talk. So I figured let's cut it down to 3. Then I can talk as much as I want because we still have some time. I will be doing more and more videos. We're also going to be doing 3 misconceptions of federal prison. That's going to be a special video coming up that's going to be only accessible from our subscribers through our website over at federalprisontime.com. I need to update the logo. All right, so number 3, attorney accountability. If I had $2, let's say this, if every time somebody called me about their attorney didn't do this, their attorney didn't do that, if every time you guys did that and Jared Mendez had to donate $2, Jared would be broke, I would be rich, and sounds like a good idea. Let's go ahead and go with that. Everybody that starts to email me or text me about attorney accountability, Jared Mendez is going to donate $2. All reality, though, the fact is I get the call several times a week, sometimes daily, and they tell me the attorney's not doing this. The attorney didn't tell me how important my letters were. The attorney told me not to mention anything about RDAP. My attorney's not answering my call. My attorney doesn't seem to care. Is it because I have an appointed attorney? I should spend all this money on a high-priced private attorney. And I'm telling you, I get the calls from both sides. I get the call from the guy that spent $500,000 on legal fees, and I get the call from the guy that has an appointed attorney. So, of course, when you have an appointed attorney, you're just going to assume you're getting lesser than what you would have received if you had a paid attorney. The reality is it seems to be cut down the middle, and I see the same thing from both sides. So don't jump to that conclusion just because you have an appointed federal attorney that you're not getting the best possible service that they can offer. The key is you need to know how to hold your attorney accountable. You have to be willing to work harder on your own case, do your own due diligence, ask questions. You have to be willing to work harder than anybody else is going to be willing to work for you. You can't expect to hire an attorney. You can't expect to hire a private consultant such as myself and expect some magic wand or some special sauce that's going to come in and just make everything better. Yes, attorneys, consultants can provide you with information. We can provide you with ideas. We can give you a course of action, but a lot of it is going to require you to take the necessary steps. So one of the programs that we work on is attorney accountability, holding your attorney accountable. And really that's done with educated questions. You have to understand and be willing to be honest to yourself right now that you don't really know what questions you should be asking your attorney. Many of you haven't even hired an attorney yet, and you're thinking you're just going to hire your attorney. Do you know how many times I get a call telling me I have the best attorney? I have the best federal private attorney that money could buy. I'm like, okay, well, why do you say that? He used to be a prosecutor. He was the head prosecutor. He worked here. He worked there. He's friends with the judge. I hear that every single day, and I feel like, I wonder if this is an attorney's sales pitch, because it's this, look, the facts are the facts. You've got your offense level. You've got what you did. You've got what you're pleading guilty to. You've got certain things that aren't going to change. You got your custody level, your criminal history. It is what it is. Your attorney's job should be to really be going through and making sure that you're not getting hit with something or getting a higher offense level than what you should be getting, or mitigating your sentence properly, making sure that when your PSR is being completed, that they're calculating your points right. Maybe there's a money loss. You're getting charged with things that you didn't have anything to do with. Is your attorney challenging this? If you don't know the questions to ask your attorney, specifically when you're hiring your attorney, many of you already have your attorney, so you're past that point. But even when you're in the middle, you need to know exactly how to vet your attorney properly. And then throughout the entire process, how are you working with your attorney? If you're hiring a consultant, a lot of you are like, well, I don't want to tell my attorney I'm hiring a consultant because they're against it. You are the one that is looking at going to prison, not me, not your attorney, not anybody else. It's you. You potentially are going to be facing prison time. If you want the best possible outcome, you have to be willing to do what's uncomfortable now. A lot of us don't want to challenge the attorney because it's almost like when you go to the doctor. You go to the doctor for X, Y, or Z. You get there. The doctor's like, oh, well, there doesn't really seem to be anything wrong with you. And you want to go, but I have this pain, or but I think you're wrong. But we don't, because we feel like, well, they're the expert, and I don't want to insult them by challenging them because they're the expert in this situation. No one's saying you're trying to tell them what to do or how to do their job. But when you are the one that's facing a prison sentence and you're not going to ask your attorney, so often we will have attorneys tell our clients, because we advocate all of our clients, most of our clients, submit their narrative to the probation officer during the PSR interview. And they'll bring this up to their attorney, and their attorney will say things like, no, that's not necessary. That's not going to help. The probation officer is not going to want to see that. It's not going to help you. But they don't give the client a reason why they don't want to do it. Why is it not going to help you? Why does the probation officer not want to do this? How do you know the probation officer doesn't want to do this? It's okay to ask questions. And again, the questions that you may have, or the level of accountability that you're offering or asking from your attorney or holding your attorney accountable, again, depends on so many variations of your situation. So many moving parts, where you're at in your case, what kind of case it is. Do you qualify for 5K1s? Do you qualify for safety valve? Do you qualify for any type of reduction? Based on what type of crime you have. Are there ways to get outside of your minimum mandatory? You have to really be able to hold your attorney's feet to the flame, because I'm not saying your attorney's doing a bad job intentionally. They might be overworked. They might have a million clients. And we've all heard the term, squeaky wheel gets the oil. Early bird gets the worm. We could say these all day long. And there's a reason why these sayings are made. If you're willing to speak up and not just sit there quiet, because sitting there quiet is going to have regret and a whole lot of resentment down the road. You have to know how to ask your attorney questions. And if you don't know where to start and you don't know how to present this to your attorney, again, this is what the consultation link is for. Book the 1-hour consultation. Tell me what your concerns are. Before we even set up the call, trust me, I'm not just going to have you call and go, okay, what are your questions? We're going to set up an outline of what we're going to be discussing. We're going to send you a list of questions prior to the consultation. We want to make sure that you bring to the table what we need. I don't want you to waste an hour just asking a bunch of basic questions like, I don't know what to do. What should I do to start? That's all done in the email. Then we're going to format what the topic of the conversation. We're going to pull your information up on Pacer. We're going to get a strong idea of where you're at. Then we're going to determine. And when I tell you guys we have a team, the team has been growing from day one, from where it was just myself and Shelly, Shelly and Jenny, myself, Jenny and Ches. Now we've added Billy. We've added Tom Root. We've added our substance abuse professional. We're getting ready to add another specialist that deals with nothing but issues surrounding mental health. So we're going to have a mental health attorney that's going to come on as a panelist that's going to speak to a lot of you. So many of you either have mental health issues or have developed strong mental health issues going through this. Having mental health issues is something that should be brought up, and it should be explained, specifically during things like the pre-sentence report. You got to remember that probation officer is going to be sending a recommendation to the judge. You don't want to just assume you've covered all of your bases. If you don't know what the map should look like and you're just guessing what you're doing, you're leaving so much on the table that could shut off potential time off your sentence, create different opportunities, create different possibilities of what type of prison time you're going to do, locations you're going to serve it in. There's so many moving parts that there is no cookie cutter dynamic to this. That's why, because of all the different scenarios that each individual person can be in, yes, there's always going to be a lot of common denominators, but there's going to be a lot of intricate parts that are very personal to your situation. So that's really what we came to talk about here today, guys, is I really want to start ironing down what it is that you guys are going through, what the problem is. I know you guys have a million questions, and I wish there was 5 of me so I could take all of the questions all day long. But when I tell you, I probably receive somewhere in the neighborhood of 40 to 50 phone calls per day, and some of them are something that I can never do anything with. It's like, I got a speeding ticket, what do I do? But many of them are situations where it takes 45 minutes to an hour to really go through your questions, give you the peace of mind that you're looking for so you can move on to what's next. And I just can't do that without scheduling it through some sort of an organized system. While I was in the Keys, I took my children to Florida Keys last week for the 4th of July. And it was like, even on the 4th of July, during the holidays, during Sunday, the phone just doesn't stop. And I don't get upset at that. I'm not like, how come people aren't respecting my privacy and my time? I remember the situation that I was in, going through exactly what you guys are going through, and it's so overwhelming that you just can't help yourself. Every minute feels like eternity. You feel like the weight of the world is sitting on your shoulders. You've definitely got way more questions than you do answers. I remember so many times going into my attorney's office with like a list of questions and leaving there without any of those questions really getting answered, but a whole lot more questions and frustration. So much frustration to the point where the only escape was to just like sit and watch Netflix or turn on some music or go to the gym. There's nothing wrong with any of that because it does give you a break, but you have to spend the majority of your day, the 80-20 rule. You've got to spend the 80% of your day focusing, working, digging, but you have to have a roadmap. You have to have a plan in place. You can't just sporadically show up to work and just start doing whatever you want. This is why things are delegated in a specific order. So what we can help you do is organize your life around this specific situation. And we have some amazing clients that are really grassrooted this, and they understand the process. We have weekly calls. We're creating progress reports. We're giving them to-do list, things we want to see them have completed by the following week. And every one of these things is to create the outcome that you're looking for. And it's to take step by step to give you the wherewithal and to give you the motivation and the confidence that you can, not only get through this, but get through this with the least amount of pain and punishment and consequence as possible, and realizing that whatever does happen in the end, you're going to know that this is the way it was supposed to be because I've done everything that I could possibly do. What's up, Casey? Casey Cochran. This is, I think this might be the first time you joined me in a live chat, but Casey is a longtime friend of mine. Casey was actually my partner prior to going to prison in a call center that we had together, and luckily he didn't get wrapped up in any of this stupidness, but Casey started an amazing company while I was getting ready to go to prison. He actually asked me one day, he's like, hey, Dan, I'm getting ready to start this food delivery business. Do you want to get involved? And it's called Fit Food Fresh. And I was like, stupid idea, not going to work. And go Google Fit Food Fresh, see for yourself. I missed the boat on that one, but we're still great friends. He actually gave me a job when I first got out of prison while I was living in the federal halfway house. Most of my videos were done while I was working for him, so high five, Casey. But no, Casey's amazing. Love you, brother. Appreciate you joining in on the live stream. But guys, there's so many amazing people that are in your life that are going to come in and go. When you go to federal prison, people are going to forget about you. Emails might get a little more stretched out. You may not hear from people as regular, but you got to remember, life for them doesn't stop. Life for you seems like it's never going to move forward, but life does exist after prison, after probation, after all of these things. And I'm living proof of it. When I tell people I'm living the dream, I am literally living the dream. Doesn't mean I'm on some yacht, on some island, drinking, margaritas all day long, surrounded by beautiful women and, ocean. But I live in South Florida. I have the ocean to my back. I'm living my dream. I'm so complacent and happy with the situation that I'm in. But every day I put in my 80% on focus on what I can do to make things for my business better, make protocols better, make you guys have more value in the service, make sure you're getting what you need. But I am taking that 20% to digress, make sure that I'm preparing myself mentally, not allowing too much of what's going on to spill over into my life. And that's the reason why we have created this consulting link that I would like you guys to use. If you want to, look, if you really have a situation that is that dire and it's really that severe and you think you're going to federal prison and you're not willing to take the time to click on the link that's in the description of this video, and it's also right here in the live chat. If you're not willing to go, that's the donate, my bad. Don't worry about that. Let's go book the consultation. If you're not willing to do that, and it's not worth $195 of information of what you should be doing next to decide whether or not you want to use our service, then you're not seeing the value at all, and you're not really understanding the big picture, and you're not understanding that there are many things that you just don't understand. So that's all I got for you guys today. Tomorrow I will be interviewing with one of my co-conspirators, and I can't tell you too much about it until she agrees to be part of the team. But if she is going to become part of the team, you guys will love her. She's amazing. She's got some awesome energy, awesome attitude. She spent time in federal prison. She was actually in the same prison as Shelly. They were all bunkies together, basically. So at the very least, it's going to make a very fun, interesting interview, specifically for those of you ladies out there that might be looking at a federal prison sentence. All right, guys, I'm RDAP Dan, Federal Prison Time Consulting, people helping people, communities method, one day at a time. Don't forget to like, subscribe to this video. Share this video with as many people that you can that you think might take some value from it. Share it with your family because your family has just as many questions as you do. So go ahead and grab the link to my channel, send it to your family and friends. They've got a lot of questions that they probably don't even know how to ask you right now because, again, they don't know what they should be asking you. It all comes down to this is brand new territory for most of you. So allow somebody that's been through it to guide you through this extremely dark time in your life. I love you all. Have an amazing night, and I'll catch up with you guys in a couple days. I'm out of here. Peace.